Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You really gonna fuck that up down. Alright. So I don't know if it's showing me. I already was smoking. I pretty much smoked this one gone. I got two more. Last night was one of those insomnia nights where I had slept so long during the day that I was up all night, and I don't have a problem with that. That's fortunate, unfortunate, as Tim's would say. But and that's a pause moment. My brain is thinking. Mm, that background really fucking cuts out the. Okay, that's weird. Just trying to get it just to work right. It's not doing what I wanted to do. Hmm. That's kind of freaky. I like that. Use this one for a while. So around 3:50, um, finishing rolling. I got these three. Finished smoking. And sitting in my chair looking at my phone. Then I'm like, okay, it's almost 4:20. I could go to sleep if I went lay down at that time and just closed my eyes. I probably would have fell asleep. But I didn't. I decided to stay up and smoke. And then after I smoked for 4:20, I looked at the clock and it was like 5:30 something. I'm like, the sun's about to come up. I might as well stay up and smoke by the sunrise. So that's what I'm doing. You can tell in my area, it's getting brighter outside. Shout out to the Knicks. I just realized I got my Chicago hat on. I got on black and red this morning with this glory, this morning glory. Which one should I smoke? Let me smoke this little shotgun shell, little shotty. You want to smoke this little shotty? I thank you for taking the time to view this live. I know it's not scheduled or on a routine, and I know the best way to build an audience and following is to be consistent and show up every day. And I did that for years. That formula did not work for me. It might have worked for other people, but it didn't work for me. And maybe it just didn't work at that time. What I was applying, the dedication to going live every day, Maybe it just wasn't for that time for me to be doing that, but it was practice for me doing it, you know? It's how you gotta look at things. Like everything's preparation for something down the road. Like a lot of jobs that you'll get, it's training you for the job of your future. So while you in it, even if it's something that people look down on or would like mock you for having, take it serious to the point where your professionalism outshines the job title. That way, you'll likely get promoted or given some type of award or recognition, which only looks good when you go to interview for the job you really want. And some people don't look at jobs like that. They look at it like, well, this is what I do now. And they hate their reality instead of looking like, hey, this is what I'm using to survive and pay the bills until I get my savings up to invest in the machine I want to buy or the class I want to take or the trip to this conference that might lead to the job that I've been researching. You never know what could happen. But if you're always in a misery mind state, you're not even in a position to build the future in the faith that you're carving it out. Just imagine you get a nice piece of lumber and you're a wood artist and you carve wood. But on this particular piece, you don't have any instructions or guidance. You just were delivered a perfectly shaped log for you to do some type of design. Now, if you go cutting this wood with no blueprints or drafts, you just freestyle it, you might come out with a pretty decent piece of a one of a kind artwork. Had you outlined a design that you had in your head that you've been working on for months, building sketches and models, and now you just want to take that model and transform it from concept to actual living art, you can do that too. And that's not to say that either route is wrong into how you arrive at the art that you produce. So if you are working at, let's say, a movie theater and your job is just to clean the popcorn and the candy and the actual seats and stuff in between the shows and just make sure everything is stocked and where it should be and all the trash is out the way, how serious you take that not only reflects on how you approach your work, but the quality of your work. Because you could be a janitor, but if you do excellent janitorial services, you'll be the man or woman, whatever you identify as. So let's say you're a janitor or you work at the movie theaters. In a society's viewpoint, you are in the service and hospitality industry. And your service and sacrifice for your time doesn't really change the world. But in the instance where your humanity is called to represent you in a situation that you couldn't foresee with people that you've never met or people that you know, and that the way you approach your work and how you carry yourself while working might just be the spark that somebody who is motivated to do what you do because you're living their dream. Now, a lot of kids, when they're asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? They always give an answer that justifies a round of applause. They always say, I want to be an astronaut, the doctor, the president, the nurse, astrophysicist, UFC fighter. Every now and then, every now and then you get an honest answer. The kid would be like, I want to create video games, or I want to get paid to be on Roblox all day. And I noticed that regardless if you are answering out of people pleasing or if you're answering from the depths of your soul, you should know that everything that you do will either get you closer to your goals or further from them. And how life is so mysterious. Sometimes you could be working something that you don't see the relationship or the connection to the job that you ultimately want. But your makeup and how you do the job is what you're working on, the character, the intangible skills that you can only get through lived experience will show up on whatever job that you're working. So even if you're doing something like cleaning popcorn up or cleaning the bathroom at a school, that service that you were providing a safe and clean space for your fellow man. And I say man in just, not in a specific being, but in totality of all mankind. So when I say man, that's what I mean. I mean mankind. So I'll just say mankind so y'all won't be confused. I found myself earlier over talkative in conversations with a young one, and their imagination and perception of life is not totally ruined by the harsh realities of the pain and suffering that they ultimately have to go through just as existing in this meat suit. But our conversations always lean towards wisdom sharing and understanding and grasps on empathy and caring and what it means to matter, what it means to even give a F. And I censored myself just now because I've noticed that in my attitude and how I carry myself sometimes, it can be offsetting. And truthfully, I don't care who I upset. And if I trigger you and upset you, great. There is obviously something I'm mirroring in energy that triggers you. A lot of people don't like to hear that their partner is a reflection of them. Even if they're stay at home, uh, parent, entrepreneur, and the other one is the 9 to 5er, there's a lot of ways that people would mirror. Even if one is an extrovert and the other one's an introvert, there's still aspects of your relationship that y'all mirror. And it's only until you really do the work to examine the areas in which your character and action is upsetting to those that you actually care about that prompts you to make some changes or adjustments. Having the ability and self awareness to know when you're being an a hole or when you have been, or the decision that you're planning on doing, the ramifications thereof, that's true brilliance to be able to grasp the depths of emotions, not only for yourself, but for others. And for low vibrational beings, people who subscribe to hateful rhetoric and nonsense 24/7, who are constantly in chat rooms and live streams just repeating ignorance, I was reminded that, the studies that reveal the perplexities of our time, that a lot of you are afraid of actual paper with words on it. That reading is something that is a challenge in and of itself. So to explain the depths of how the mechanisms of the judicial or executive or legislative branch even operates and functions and the limits of their power, you are speaking to people who just repeat Fox News and True Social postings from the president. So anytime that you speak out against anything that is of lacking the truth and a reprimand on justice itself, you will trigger people emotionally for attacking their source. And for a lot of people, the president is their source. That he is their hero, the symbolic nature of the antidote to whatever disease they feel they have or the country has. And a lot of them say things that just when you repeat it back to them, it exposes their lack of comprehension and being able to step in someone else's shoes. I think the weirdest thing about ignorant Americans is that they are gun ho about causing pain and suffering to others. But the moment that pain and suffering is returned to them, that's when the victimhood comes out. The very thing that has been titled on survivors of genocide, those who speak up against the atrocities and the eraser of whole family lineages, we are told that we are playing the victim card or the race card. And everybody with known sense is asking, why do we keep shuffling these cards back into the deck? Why do these cards keep getting played? Who is the dealer? And why do they even have these cards in their deck for this game of life? And that's the freedom that we are given, the option to make a choice, whether totally annihilate a group of people for differences that don't truly make us different. Because even in our difference, we can agree that we are different. So even in the ways in which we view each other negatively, we're the same. And that's what I think the biggest problem with people who extrapolate racism. They benefit off of it or produce materials that just lead to the ignorance growing further, getting more wings, more air under for flight. And as I was explaining it to a young one, there are people my age who can't read books your age. So me trying to explain anything to these people is literally a waste of time. I mean, sometimes I do it out the enjoyment of letting people see a reality that differs from theirs. For instance, there's a trial going on with a young man, and it's about, some obvious, just racist, backwood BS. This guy left a meme that's just, mocking the dead, making a joke out of it, throwing some racism with it. And I'm just like, bro. And I was an older person too, so I'm just like reminding them, like, you're about to check out of here, bro. People like you at your age, it's damn near, there's like no escaping the hell that you produce because you're a big 70, 80 years old in comment sections just reposting racist memes like you're ready to go. You're begging to get up out of here. And the thing that made it so twisted is after clicking on his profile and going through his photos, and I believe it's by marriage or his kids, it looked like his grandkids were married to a black woman who had a mixed daughter. And then, of course, they got black sides of the family. And he's got, the real small baby in his profile photos. And I'm just like, the same guy who just mocked a dead kid who just got shot in the back, running away from a scene he was innocent from, was just murdered. And the first thing you thought to do, while the case is like national trending social media movement, lots of tempers flaring, you thought it was okay to make a meme about dead kids. Our dead kids getting shot. And then what's so twisted is that the same meme applies to this dude's grandson and his cousin. Well, his cousin by marriage. And I'm just like the cognitive dissonance to be in comment sections trolling the death of a black kid. And then in your immediate family, you're posting a small black child. So you are telling your family that you don't give a shit about this small black child. Because, like, how can you? There's no way that you can relate that type of meme and then not carry over to how you truly feel about this kid. And normally, you'll get, racist people who, like, I can't be racist. My wife is black. And, a lot of that shit is fetish. A lot of racists fetishize black women. Why do you think so many rapes happened? It wasn't because they were just sexual deviance. It was because there's a lot of our aunties and omas and mothers and sisters and our relatives that were dropped alive. Bring a person alive, gorgeous. Like somebody's been dead for 10 days, they having a funeral. Family come in. This dude got a new wife and she's so fine. She bring the dead back to life. I'm talking about gorgeous. So, would we consider people who owned actual people not racist just because they had a thing for sleeping with the very same people they had in enslavement? See how that argument doesn't check out? But for some people who struggle with the concept of push and pull on a door, will argue blue into the face that they can't be racist because their significant other is of another race. But those same people will be in a comment section leaving a racist meme about the exact race of people that they're married to. And it's just like you check on the race of the person, I mean, their significant other, and you see how they post, and it's like, oh, it makes sense why you're a self hating version of whoever you are. So it's not like this person who's an obvious bigot isn't with a woke black woman, it's impossible for those realities to exist unless he's just like hiding it undercover. And I seen a story recently about this dude who married this woman, and he ended up stabbing her like so many freaking times. And they just replayed the videos of their interactions, and every time it's just like you see him looking at her, just like with a face of disgust, like when the camera's not, when they're not taking a couple photos, like cheek to cheek and shit. And then when she's just like over there talking, kitchen, cooking in the kitchen, and she's doing a video or something, he's just in the back looking at her like I can't stand this bitch. But because he's married to her, he can't be racist, right? Right. Another thing that came to my mind earlier, like racist police. So many times during an incident where a police would shoot a kid or a grown up, anybody, especially from our community, you'll see the arrogant, ignorant descendants of colonizers be like, come on, you think a cop just woke up with the intentions to shoot a random black guy today? And then you're like, yeah, of course, in a reality where everything is apple pies and rainbows and sunshine, you're not going to think to look at the psychopaths who've been committing genocide on your people because you resemble the people who are committing the genocide. So the thought doesn't even seem like a reality that a cop, somebody who's sworn to serve and protect you, the member of the community, would wake up with the intentions of purposely harming a member of the community. But you'll have people who are just playing devil's advocate, and I truly believe it's just the still and harvest industry because they truly agree with what was happening. Like they love the fact that cops get to go into our community and totally just act like we don't have rights. It's the weirdest shit. It's like when it comes to certain people, they act like they know they can't touch them. They know they can't demand to look into their bag. They know they can't, it doesn't matter where they're coming from or where they're going. And they know that none of these questions matter, and they don't pull that bullshit with them. But then suddenly, when the darker your skin complexion comes, the more the projections of that said colonizing group project their own inferiority on the people that they feel are inferior, and they demand obedience and take control of the scene, and they have to listen to you. They have to obey you. You are the law, blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, yeah, that's cool and all. But there's a group of people in existence who don't give a fuck about some words on a piece of paper that give you the right to kill people and get away with it. Because damn sure nobody in my community voted for that shit. And then I was doing some research on some of my history, or I'm doing anthropological and genealogy on my bloodline, who my people is, where we come from, right? So I'm looking it up, and I'm noticing around the area where my folks is from, they had to flee that area because of a fucking Indian Removal Act. So because some racist fucking white guy had the audacity to write words on a piece of paper, suddenly other white men just get to go around murdering Native Americans just because somebody wrote a piece of paper that said they get the right to do it. And then I'm sitting back thinking, like, this is how all of American laws are. A group of people sitting in a room dictating life for the rest of us, regardless of the consequences and the suffering of the people who they are trying to exclude or punish with these fucking made up laws. That's why you hear people say all cops are bastards and they are all descendants of the slave patrols, because when you look at the research of the existence of the police, these motherfuckers were just to enforce slavery. They literally existed to keep slaves in check and to catch those who ran away. And all of society was like, yeah, that's normal. That makes sense because we operate in slavery. We need people to protect our slaves. And not how you think in protecting the slaves, not in the preservation of life for the slave, but in the preservations of the property of the slave to the property owner. You see how crazy these people are that they would really relegate another human being to less than a human being to justify the wickedness that a human being should never do to another one. But because somebody wrote it on a piece of paper, that means they get to do it. So anytime anything's related to court, anything comes up, I'm just thinking like, bitch, like fuck you. What are you like? You are descendants of colonizers who doing the same things that your forefathers did before you. Get people in the court, have them speak legalese. Don't stand up for the truth, knowing that all this shit is made up and that anybody coming to court for civil or any of this bullshit, misdemeanor and all that is like it's irrelevant. It should be thrown out. They can't show uh just cause. They can't validate their jurisdiction. Everything that's in the Constitution is for officers of the Constitution, those who participate and are sworn in by the Constitution. Those are the lawyers and judges and cops and shit and politicians. They are held into the legal square space of the law and all that bullshit that they write and make up for each other. You and I, as private citizens, created to live and be on God's green earth, that shit don't apply to us. That's just some bullshit that they created to make them feel good and justify their existence. Like, for instance, if you get pulled over and a cop's trying to give you a ticket for like not having a light bulb on your license plate, or you didn't come to a complete stop, or your blinker light is out, and they're trying to write you a ticket for it, let them. What if you question them and they start threatening you and they want to, search your vehicle and asking you to step out the car and all this other shit? And you asking questions for why and they escalate it like, if you fail to comply to identify yourself, I'm going to place you under arrest for obstruction of justice and all this other bullshit. And they start threatening you. Cool, let them do all the threats that they want. When they give you that ticket, write UDT on it, right next to the signature part. That will alert the clerk or the court that under this case, when it comes to jurisdiction and case law and all that shit, it doesn't matter. Because this officer threatened your freedom and your rights just to enforce this civil infraction. So, like, if you ran a stop sign and the cop pulls you over and he wants to give you a ticket for running a stop sign, but then he goes, well, we're out here taking guns and drugs off the street, so do you mind if I search your car and all this other shit? It's like, bro, write me the ticket for what you told me you was going to write me the ticket for, so I can get the fuck on my way. Because the moment that they give you the ticket, the interaction is over. They have to leave the scene. I don't know the timing. I think they have to leave immediately. Like, whatever business that is concluded with y'all, once you sign on the ticket, that's like you're entering in a contract with them. Just like when you sign to get your driver's license, you're entering a contract with the state. It's an admonished contract, which means that it's a it's a contract that you don't even need. It's just like their way of proving to the state that they can extort you for this amount of money to sell you back your right that you already have. So it's like illegal for them to do it, but they do it because not enough people go, hey, I'm not going to pay to register my vehicle when I just registered my vehicle last year. It didn't change. As a matter of fact, until I come to you and change the registration on it, it should still be the same fucking registration because nothing changed. It's still the same car. It's still under my name. Same shit. But because it's been how they've been allowed to prosper, you have to understand these people built their entire legacy off of the backs of using other people. And all of you people who say, we celebrate this and this state when we officially ended slavery, blah, 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 blah. If you have it written in your constitution that slavery is no more, finito, done data, and then you put an accepting but in that statement, then you just legalize slavery. Like you legalize slavery. So slavery doesn't exist in America, except once you have been found proven guilty of one of their made up rules and laws. Then they get you in the system, and then once you're in the system, you become a property of the system. Especially if you do some felony type shit, then they really try to fuck you up. That train of thought slipped me. But yeah, so we got somebody in here today. I'm smoking with the sunrise, talking, reflecting, hoping I don't say the wrong words to get my video banned. And I forgot the bro who went through the process to contact YouTube and do the whole nine to get like his videos from out the shadows and everything like that. But I speak too much real shit. There's no way that I could talk on any platform and not say something that's controversial or would mess with the sponsors or the ad dollars or something like that. So it's like I'm pretty much accepted that me and certain aspects of social media just don't work on these platforms. I would have to create my own platform in order to say what I really want to say. And that's okay. Like it's their platform, they got the right to make the rules and laws of their platform. But I've been doing this on everybody's platform forever. Even before the shit was legal. And that was kind of hot, but I mean, I was born to be a hot boy. It was born in 400 degrees. What you expect from me, man? What you expect? There's no way you can't be born in the fire and come out unsinged. You just you're gonna be molded by it. You're gonna be refined by it. I don't regret any of the bullshit that I've been through. Well, some of it has been like, damn, I should have played that different. But in totality, if there's a magic genie that was like, you got 3 wishes, and I'll give you a fourth one for free if you want to go back in time before this even happened and replay your life from a certain part, and you can change it and blah blah blah. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do it. I've learned so much from going through so many life experiences, from meeting so many people from all over the globe, from so many different races and religions and walks in life. I've just been collecting their stories, their experiences, their hopes, dreams, and fears. I just become, like a student of the world. And I just don't see how other people don't do the same thing with life. How do you not look at the world around you and be curious about it, or want to know why is that the way it is? Like, who designed this aspect of why houses have to be built like this, or why streets are designed like this, or why do we still use shit that was drafted in the 1800s that has no relevance today? Like, if we're living by words on paper, did the people who drafted these words on paper even get the concept of a cell phone? Like, if we were to take anything of what we call future technology back to those times, oh, we would be tried for witches and wizards and all types of shit. But it's not too far from removed from what existed before. It's just transformed into a different experience reality. Motherfuckers was riding horses and buggies. Now we drive cars. And we measure how fast we go by miles per hour. And how strong an engine is by its horsepower. Because we used to ride horses. I can't even tell you what 700 horsepower really even fucking means. Does that mean I have 700 horses, like 700 individual horses that are running all together on my drivetrain? Is that what that means? Like 1 horsepower equals 1 horse, and 700 horsepower equals 700 horses? Did I finally just discover what that means by asking the question of what it means? Because for my whole life, I just said, you know, that car got this amount of horsepower without even realizing what I'm saying to people. Like, does that mean that it has 700 horsepower, as in 700 individual horses pulling together one vehicle? Or does the 700 HP just mean something on a different data scale? It's just what they called it because people used to ride horses. So that's why we titled it horsepower, because it'd be the easiest relatable fact that people can recognize something from the past and bring it to the future. Hmm. So here, let me help y'all out with something from the past that'll bring y'all up to the future. If you're an asshole 24/7, you're gonna have an asshole experience 24/7. And that doesn't limit your experience by a dollar amount. I'll extrapolate that thought. You could have $1 billion and be the most miserable motherfucker on the planet. I'm talking about your family don't love you. Wherever you go, the people like they smile and then they give you that fake. And then as soon as you walk by, they're like, "Fuck that motherfucker." Like if you're that person who's consciously aware that wherever you go, people smile in your face, but as soon as you turn your back, they flick you off. Your own family and kids are just like, yeah, whatever, fuck you, motherfucker. They don't listen to you, they don't even care about you. Like you can't sleep at night. You are haunted by all of the people that you killed to make your money. Like all of those people, those innocent people that you have never met before, it's like they spirit just come knock on your door at night. You're like, why the fool? Is that the wind? And then your wife is just like, the wind doesn't knock on the door, honey. Like that's not the wind doesn't knock. So you can't sleep at night, and your face is like the genius behind a company that you are heralded as the founder and originator and creator, when in reality you just bought it from somebody who actually built it and then you put your name on it. So you're not really who you say you are. Your family really don't fuck with you. Wherever you go, you're not really respected. And everybody who infantilizes your reality has no idea what it took for you to become this so and so great inventor, tech guru, whatever the fuck you do. But something's missing. Something's missing. It's a soul. A lot of you people are soulless. And you don't start out soulless. I don't believe anybody starts out as a soulless vessel. I believe everybody comes here with the same objective of completing the mission and goal and choosing whatever body and family that they were born into to play whatever role that they are here to play in this reality simulation. I don't even know what to call this. Nonetheless, if you put a group of children outside of the selfishness of like taking a toy and wanting to keep it for themselves, 9 times out of 10, you'll see a room full of kids from all races, religions, and backgrounds totally having fun. Walking up to random kids, just looking at them, hugging them, reaching out their hand, wanting to take them to go play, swing on the swing. Like kids truly know and exhibit that behavior and the answers to why so many grown-ups are fucked up. And it's because a lot of us are shaped by this innocence getting ripped away. And what I mean by that, I mean you're coming into consciousness of what's good and bad, what feels good and what doesn't feel good, what makes you uncomfortable and what doesn't make you uncomfortable. And the thing that I learned is everybody's starting point, although different, we can all, on the same balance board of life, no matter who you are, we all start out innocent. And what shapes the perception of us coming into consciousness is what we consider normal. So if you were born into a family that argued and fought every day about stupid, trivial things or about major things like money and business decisions and where we're going to live and eat and all stuff like that, like if your family was constantly in a state of survival and chaos, regardless how terrible that version of emotional being was, that's what you consider normal. So you might get in a relationship and not think the person doesn't actually care for you because they're not willing to raise their voice at you. Because from your perception, you think that, oh, this motherfucker don't even like me. He's not even passionate enough to cuss me out. I did something that he should have cussed me out for, and he ain't even cussed me out. Or you have people who been abused, like physically abused, or they witnessed their parents being in a relationship for their whole life, watching their mom get beat, and then the girl growing up and actually believing that a man is supposed to hit her. Like a man really, really truly loves you if he's willing to risk his freedom of going to jail by choking you out. Like some women actually believe that that is a sign that, man, this man loves me. I got somebody who truly cares. You see what he did to my eye? That's passion. You actually have people who are believed in this reality because that's their normal reality. And I just accepted the fact that everybody's reality is normal to them, no matter how fucked up it is or how not fucked up it is. That's their normal. And then we're all in this world as a collective being ruled by the craziest motherfuckers ever doing the shit that fucks up little kids. And they're literally fucking up little kids, by the way. The shit that causes traumatic stress and lifetime issues and millions of dollars spent on therapy. We got to coexist with each other. You walk to the to the grocery store and restaurants with people who've got shit that happened to them that you would never guess because they don't wear it on their face. Like the pain that they've endured, they don't you could never tell by how happy they seem, by how loud they're laughing with their friends. People will swear to God that black people love being subjected to racism. Like, look how happy we are. Look how talented, and look how good we can sing. Look how high we can jump. Look how many business deals we can do. Look how many times a motherfucker can come back from nothing. to the point that y'all believe that like this is the norm for us, that we're supposed to be subjects of utter bullshit just because. That's the norm for y'all. And you all are getting a reality check. Every single day I see somebody, and they just happen to be older, from an older generation, who will do something so blatantly disrespectful and dishonorable. Not even like racist. I'm just like just on a just a basic human decency. Like you wouldn't treat your own mother or son like this. Like why would you even act like this in public so people can see you? I see people like that getting knocked the fuck out. And I'm just like, man, I'm thankful for this new reality. I'm thankful for the reality where racist motherfuckers are used to being racist and not having any consequences of it. For whatever reason, they've been sheltered in an enclave of perpetual loserdom to where they feel so emboldened to speak out loud the other hatred and vitriol that consumes their soulless being. And it's like these people are so afraid of facing whoever traumatized them as a kid and lash out on who's the easiest victim. I noticed that even with myself. Like the racist people that I know that are in my family, there are the times that I haven't confronted them because it was much easier to confront the known racist that everybody knows is racist. Like everybody can admit that Donald Trump is racist. Like you don't do the things he's done and the things he's said and not quantify that as like, okay, this is an obvious racist piece of shit. But some people, their racism, that's normal to them. They've been around it their whole life, and until they get conscious enough to be like, hey, that just doesn't make sense. Why shouldn't I like my best friend? And you know that always kills me when I show up to the park with my kids or my nieces and nephews, or I'm just at the Y, and then there's people who you can tell they just never been around anybody but their living room. And you're like, what world do you exist in to where you don't know that other people exist on this planet? And to the fact that you would believe that because they look different from you, that they might speak a different language, they might sound funny, that they're abnormal, which is normal to them. You don't even recognize that your normal is abnormal to them. You don't even recognize the reflection in the mirror. You judging somebody based off of they're in this country speaking Spanish, and you're like, you need to speak English. And it's like, as a Mexican American who's always been on this land, to hear somebody who is foreign from this land demanding that you respect their language and culture, and you're just like, do you know who you're fucking talking to? Like this, it applies to you too. You're in America. Speak fucking Spanish. Speak Ojibwe. Can you speak fucking Ojibwe? No? Well, shut the fuck up then. Like, it's this lack of awareness, and it's truly born in ignorance, that just stifles my. Well, it doesn't stifle me. It doesn't make me not want to be who I am. It makes me more cautious about who I am around other motherfuckers. Because me being a loving being, regardless of what you look like, that's normal for me. Motherfuckers hating whole groups of people how could you hate a whole group of, you know how many people you would have to meet and keep track and score of which one of the people are assholes versus which one of the people are nice? Like you would get through your whole life and not meet the entirety of that group of people. So how can you have an astute, scientifically proven, measurable fact that you hate an entire group of people? There's outliers in everything. Harriet Tubman shot niggas. Harriet Tubman shot niggas. And then that's where that quote, all skin folk ain't kinfolk. Everybody that look like me don't want the best for me. They might get more money off of hating people who look like me from people who don't look like me. Or they might make money off of motherfuckers who look like me who make money off of people who look like me. You know, it's just, I don't put it past a motherfucker no more. And I never have before. I always let, like, how you play me is how I'm gonna play you. Not saying I'm gonna be tit for tat and like try to seek revenge. It's like a poker game. How you play your hand tells me how I'm gonna play my hand. So if you treat me like shit, I'm like, oh, okay, well, I know how I'm gonna treat you. I'm not gonna give you the opportunity to treat me like shit. So if you go to a restaurant and they're like, oh, well, we're busy tonight, and you see like 4 empty tables, you're like, oh, are those for reservations? And they're like, yeah. And you're like, okay, well, can you check the reservation times? Because if they don't show up, like, won't those tables be available? And they're like, I'm sure they'll be here. I'm like, all right, well, check the book. And then, you're looking at them check the book. And it's like, there's nobody here for 9 o'clock. And you look at your watch and it's 9 o'clock. And you're like, oh, okay. So you're booked at 8:50 and 8:30 and 8 o'clock. And that's the 8:30, that's the 8:50, and that's the 8:40. But you're open till midnight and it's 9 o'clock, and you're telling me you don't have any. No, you don't have any tables available for me. But there's clearly tables available. So anybody who goes out their way to let it be known that like my presence is not valued and appreciated, why the fuck would I spend money with these people? Why the fuck would I give them the fulfillment of extracting resources just to prove to them that I have the resources? When in their mind, they said I didn't have the resources. So you know what I started doing? How people perceive me, I let that to be true. So it's like, that nigga broke. I'm like, yeah, you're right, I'm broke. I couldn't afford this restaurant anyway. You're right. I'm going to leave. You are right. I can't afford to eat here. My value and what I place upon myself dictates that I cannot spend my money with you. You are correct. I'm leaving. Oblige people. And that's kind of not, it is kind of scaring me because with my freedom and boldness, I don't fear things. So, like, if I say something like fuck MAGA, I'm not worried about MAGA. You know what I'm saying? I'm not worried about them. I know the threat of what they'll do exists, but I'm still like, fuck them. I'm still like, fuck them. My head was on the swivel before I knew who MAGA was anyway. Before they came out with their Trump memorabilia and their Make America Great hats anyway, I was always looking left and right, behind me and up and down. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit, I've experienced enough life experience that the marketing program of America did not work on me. I know it wasn't the greatest democracy of the world because I've lived in other democracies around the world, and I'm like, damn, it's fucking great over here. Like, how much was this hospital bill? $7. Dental, eye, vision was all included in the health insurance. They weren't separate things. Dental and vision and everything was included in the health insurance. They weren't separate things. You had to. Anyway, that's a that's a whole nother topic. But just knowing what I've lived and experienced firsthand in a whole other part of the world across the ocean, I'm like, oh, there's other places that exist that people fucking get it. They put the resources in their architecture, infrastructure, their schools, and their sporting events. Like they care about every aspect of life, business and pleasure. When you go to the airport and you're traveling abroad, they ask you, are you here for business or pleasure? Because most developed countries in the world, that's what they spend their money on. Making sure that the people who come here can take care of business and they can have some pleasure. And in America, what do you get? Subscriptions, price tiers. You can have happiness if you meet a certain section. You can have freedom if you know a certain amount of the law. And it's just like, it's not guaranteed. You have to work for every fucking thing here, where in other countries, it's just, that's the normal. That's just the way, like, this is how we do it. The people who wrote our laws, our words on a piece of paper, just happen to think that, hey, everybody who's in our country deserves this, not a select few. And by selecting the few who do get it, you inadvertently hurt yourself by trying to deny others from getting it. And then it's just like, we brag about being the greatest country on earth, but it's just like, ugh. When you make a statement like that, you have to back it up. Like me, when I'm hooping with somebody and there's somebody talking a whole lot of shit, I'm like, okay, you come guard me. Because if you can talk that much shit, you can obviously stop me from scoring. Show me. Show me what you got. But to say we the greatest country and it's like we like 27th in literacy and fucking 58th in life expectancy from newborn birth, like, bro, the greatest country on earth is number one in all those rankings. That's what makes you great. Number one in childcare, number one in education, number one in healthcare. That's when you get to boast your chest. We are the greatest nation on earth. To make that statement and not have the facts to back it up is disingenuous. And it's very short sighted. Because what are the long term ramifications of continuing to lie to ourselves when the opposite is true? Like when people get on stage and like, racism is a thing of the past. We elected Obama. And it's just like, okay, so why is there millions of people championing Trump if racism is going out of this motherfucker? I don't see that. I don't see that when I look around. I don't see that when I hear the verdicts. I don't see that when people are getting evicted. I don't see that when people legislate into law the freedom to smoke this. How I'm smoking this right now, and people who are in those same states who are in jail for doing the same thing I'm doing right now aren't released. That makes absolutely no sense. So we didn't free this for the citizens, we freed this for venture capitalists. That's all the cannabis industry is. A bunch of fucking colonizing venture capitalists out to get theirs. I don't blame them, because if I had money to fucking invest in a motherfucking grow, a testing, a dispo, a manufacturing, an extraction. If I had the money to do these 6 fucking businesses, you think I wouldn't do that? So I'm not blaming anybody for taking advantage of the cards that they were dealt. What I am blaming these motherfuckers for is stealing everybody else's cards, looking at all the cards, making the best hand, and then shuffling out the cards like they didn't just stack the deck in their favor. That's the shit that I just like. It's like, bro, I can't. I can't with this shit. Y'all motherfuckers really are so delusional. How you discover a land where motherfuckers is already at? All right, that's today's history lesson. And